So, some pretty big news has come out about Warner Brothers Discovery and their plans for the future. I'm only going to go over DC right now, so if you want any more information, please check out 3C Films. He already has multiple videos on the subject. So we all know that DC movies are struggling. I mean, they came out of the gate with a mediocre movie, and it only got worse from there. Even with decent entries like Aquaman and the Suicide Squad, they were never really competing with Marvel. They wanted to believe they were, but they weren't. I don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but DC movies have never been good. To be clear, I'm only talking about the DCEU. All other separate projects I'll leave for video of their own, but speaking of just the DCEU, you don't have to look hard to find a lot of stinkers. But because of how short the lifespan was, you also don't have to look that hard to find some good stuff. For example, I love the Aquaman movie. I would like it more if Amber Heard wasn't in it, but, you know, sometimes the devil sneaks their head into places. Another solid movie was Shazam. It wasn't the tightest movie ever, but compared to the rest of the DCEU, just being a little loose is basically a masterpiece. I think the biggest thing weighing down the DCEU was Zack Snyder. He didn't really seem to understand superheroes that much. I'm not talking about grittiness. I'm talking about superheroes on a fundamental character level. Batman is a gritty character by nature, but somehow Zack Snyder still couldn't get him right. Here's the now infamous quote to demonstrate what I mean.
Someone says to me like, oh, like Batman killed a guy. I'm like, fuck. Really? I'm like, wake the fuck up. It's like, yes. It's like, yes. That's what I'm saying about, like, you know, once you've like lost your virginity to this fucking movie, and then you come and say to me something about like, oh, my superhero wouldn't do that. I'm like, are you serious? It's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent, you know? My heroes didn't fucking lie to America. My heroes didn't, you know, embezzle money from their My heroes didn't fucking commit any atrocities. I'm like, that's cool. But you're living in a fucking dream world, okay? So,
ladies and gentlemen, the man in charge is Superman. The fact that anybody tasked with creating stories for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman can have this mindset is baffling to me, especially when they were hired by Warner Brothers to relaunch and reinvent their DC theatrical movies. The whole beginning of the DCEU feels more like an Elseworld tale, and not a good one at that. I don't know if you've noticed, but we started getting decent movies once Zack Snyder left. Oh no. Oh god. Except that one. Get it away! Get it away! It's in my eyes! It's in my eyes! Let's move on. Aquaman, Shazam, The Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 1984. Never mind, let's not talk about that one. All of these are good movies, made by people who aren't Zack Snyder. It might sound like I'm dissing Zack Snyder here, because I am, but hear me out. Watchmen was pretty good. I've never seen 300. But let's get to the matter at hand. Warner Brothers and Discovery have merged, and with that, new management. With new management comes changes, and boy, there are some big ones. Things are getting canceled, series are being made, and Warner Bros. Discovery wants to focus their efforts on rebuilding the DC brand. And by rebuilding, I'm pretty sure they mean restart from the ground up. Once The Flash comes out and changes timelines or whatever's going to happen in that movie, I think nothing from the DCEU will stay. I'm talking new Batman, new Superman, new heroes, new style, new. And I'm personally looking forward to it. The DCEU has too much baggage. Oh my god, baggage? My goodness, I'm gonna kill myself. The DCU has too much baggage, too many missteps, and too many competing ideas. What these movies need is a massive reset. I'm talking new 52 levels of reset. Nothing stays. When the DCU started, I think it was a good idea to start with Superman. I mean, he is the most iconic superhero of all time. The first, actually. But now we've kind of had our fill. We've seen a lot of movies Superman, and I don't think that starting a new universe with Superman would be the best option this time. The MCU started with Iron Man, a lesser-known character with not a lot of interest, but they made him interesting and were able to build one of the most successful movie franchises off of it. DC needs to do something similar. They need something small to get their feet wet and also build out their style with. I've thought about it a little, and I think I know the perfect character to start a new cinematic franchise with. Hold it. We're getting reports that people aren't subscribing. I'm afraid I'm going to have to keep you here until you click that red button. What was that? I'm asking people to subscribe so you can keep the content flowing. Well, can you ask them to like the video as well? You just did, brother. Well, that was weird. Where was I? Alright, the character I think would be the perfect choice to relaunch a new DC cinematic universe. It has to be something small scale, something relatable but fantastical, something cool but not outlandish, something like Green Arrow. Okay, hold your booze, guys. Let me explain. The Green Arrow is a grounded, relatable character that can deal with enemies on a smaller scale, but can take on larger scale events when needed. He's got a great look and a lot of personality that will be fun to watch. He's the perfect fit. He's such a good fit, in fact, that he's already launched a universe, the Arrowverse. Granted, they turned him into Batman, but that's besides the point. The Green Arrow can make an action-packed adventure that can identify his style, execute it on a small-scale plot, and be the backbone for the universe to scale and grow over time. I love Green Arrow, and I know in my heart he can make a cinematic universe. He just needs the right people in charge. I don't know who those people are, but it's not my job to hire people, so I'm not going to bother looking. Off the top of my head, James Gunn would be a pretty good choice, but I think he's mostly known for team-up movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and The Suicide Squad, and this Green Arrow movie definitely needs to be a solo adventure. No cameos! Okay, Warner Brothers? No teases either. This needs to be a simple, solo superhero adventure. There's no reason to get crazy at the very beginning. Just set up Green Arrow's world and find a style. I've said that a lot. Find a style, build a style, but it's so important, especially when you're trying to build out a cinematic universe. A cohesive style that binds everything together is really going to make or break the whole thing. Let's define style, because no, it's not tone. Tone is something that can and should shift between movies as needed. Batman needs to have a darker tone than Superman, and Superman should have a lighter tone than Green Lantern. It's not tone that's going to bind your universe together. Tone should complement the character and story you're telling, but style is where everything comes together. Style can be something as small as how dialogue is read, or as big as how the dialogue is written. Style is the way you move the camera, the way the camera doesn't move, the lighting, the costumes, locations. This is all a part of style. But I think arguably the biggest thing that really makes a style is in the edit. As a content creator, I'm constantly working on my style, and a lot of that comes down to the editing. Will you linger on shots? Do you cut quickly? How do you correct colors? Will you transition? What graphics will go on screen? How will they move? What will they look like? The editing is 80% of the style, and DC needs to figure out what their style is going to be. Green Arrow is a street-level character. He's also a member of the Justice League. Start small with Green Arrow and build up from there, but take your time. Marvel didn't make Avengers their third movie, and neither should DC. It really is the journey that makes movies worth watching. I'll see you next time, and as I always say,
Save Martha!